Welcome back to Same Teams, Different Jerseys. Of course, you've got your chief editor and you've got the host, of course, my husband, Damian, and then you've got Hannah, of course, because this is just the new norm, I guess. I kind of just weaseled my way into all of this. So, hey, welcome back.
Yes.
I think
Yes, hello.
I think this week is going to be hopefully a little bit more on track than what last week's was, because I feel like last week's was a little bit more
Nope. I'm going to fuck everything up.
I feel like that's hope with a capital H.
Yes.
Yeah. That sounds right.
So if anybody's wondering, as you can normally see, we usually have okay production. I mean, we're not Joe Rogan shit here because I don't have that money, but we're usually pretty clear. Hannah, in 2026, apparently fucking internet just stopped working and she's rocking her iPhone, and that's why you see no headphones on her. She's just rocking the fucking 5G iPhone, making this shit work.
It's probably LTE, to be honest, because I have shit service in the house. But okay, let me tell you how irritating it is. Okay, so I was making dinner. I was almost at the end of it, and whoop, you guys are gonna have to blurt that out later.
Yep.
My youngest daughter,
That's easy,
comes up to me and she goes, "We don't have any internet," and Mom wants to know why, and I was like, "I'm cooking dinner. I have no idea, child. Like, you guys have to figure it out." So we all eat dinner. We get done with dinner, and my youngest daughter comes to me again, and she goes, "Mama B, what's wrong with the internet?" And I was like, I don't know. Like, oh my God, you're gonna have to find something to do. Like, I'm sorry, sucks to suck. Like, go read a book. I don't know." And so I'm sitting down, and I'm like on my phone, trying to open the AT&T app to look at everything, right? Okay, and it doesn't say we're in an outage. It doesn't say anything. So I go online, and I'm like, AT&T internet outages near me, right? Pull up the thing. And it pulls up like my whole town, okay, like all of my city limits is in red. And I was like, okay, cool. So then my wife goes and gets on the app, and they have finally notified that it says, that there's an outage in our area. I was like, fucking bet. She opens it, and it is not only our city limit town, the town next to us, right? Because they butt up against each other. Okay, so it's our entire city limit town, the next door neighbor's town, okay, their entire city limit of town, all the way up to the major city that we're right below at the start of their city limits. And I was like, what? This 2026, how do we currently have these issues? Like, everybody runs on the internet nowadays. Like, everything runs on internet. Like, if internet does not work, people close because they're like, we don't have internet, we can't do our job.
Yeah, we can't even check people out.
Yeah, like at my work, like, yeah, they could do it. Like we can't close, so they could do like paper form stuff. But like dentists, other doctor offices that are open Monday through Friday, like that shit closes if they don't have internet. So I'm like,
well,
how
it's
is
like
it?
Yesterday, the thousands of Verizon towers that were down caused thousands of people to have no data at all. So you couldn't make phone calls. You couldn't do anything. There was basically no internet at all.
No data, no cell. And now, okay, this is, I get it. It's first world problems, but I drive around all day long.
First world problems.
Yes. So I drive around all day long doing fucking nothing. I'm in a gated community. I'm private security. No big deal. So I do like 3 miles an hour for 8 hours a day. Well, I have my phone up and I watch all my podcasts. I watch, fucking videos and all kinds of shit while I'm doing my job. And all of a sudden, like at noon, my phone stops and I can't believe how dependent I've gotten on it, because just driving around with
nothing
other than music is fucking boring.
And then not only that, but like radio music. Like, have you listened to radio music? It's like, because like I truly believe that there's gonna come a time frame where like radio is obsolete. Like, unless you are doing like podcast stuff, like your radio is dedicated, like, oh, we're gonna show we're gonna show Joe Rogan on the radio today, and that's all they do is play Joe Rogan's like podcast or something like that. Like radio's gonna go obsolete. Kind of like how like I truly believe media, like mainstream media news outlets, is gonna be one day obsolete because people don't
Oh
go to them for
no,
their news.
it's something like, I think the last one I checked is like 70% of people get their news from Facebook, Twitter, well, X now. Sorry, Elon. We're gonna call it Twitter till the end of fucking time. Like it was Twitter for decades. I mean,
Yeah.
like we can't help it. But anyways, so yeah, it's 2026 and fucking everything just went out on me. But don't tell the radio thing to my dad because my dad still listens to radio. Like fucking turn a station. He has a station he likes, and that's what he listens to. His biggest thing in his vehicle was, I was like, why don't you just hook up, you have Pandora and stuff. He was like, well, I have to have my radio while I drive around. And I'm like, okay, Dad, it's official. You're old. I'm
He's like
sorry,
the
but
1% that still uses a radio.
yeah, he's the 1%. His wife was upset that they stopped delivering the newspaper. Like the Kingman, whatever the newspaper here is.
Kingman Minor.
The Kingman
Daily Miner?
Minor, they officially
Whatever.
stopped. Like they don't print newspaper anymore. It's online. All of it's online.
Yeah, it's obsolete.
And she was upset. She was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? And I'm like, what everybody else does.
I mean, she's on her
I
phone
mean,
all
like-
the time anyway.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, there is some like nostalgia to it, right? Like, I remember like going camping in the recent years, and I was like, fuck, dude, like, we don't have any newspaper to take with us for like quick start, to like throw in there so you can get your fire going and everything. And I'm like, oh, I guess we'll go spend like fucking $20 at the store and get us those little quick fire starters, those little balls of kindling that have like foils and shit on to make them really fast. And I was like, I could just have some newspaper. That'd be cool.
Yeah, not anymore. So we do have a plan today on what to talk
an
about.
actual topic.
Well, we said this last week, and we said as long as the world doesn't blow up. Unfortunately, the fucking world blew up. So I got a great transition. Trust me. Run with me on this one. I fucking have a plan.
Or what we could do, right, is we could focus on the one topic and then cut or stop recording and then start a whole nother one, and we could just produce 2 shorts, like mediums, not shorts, mediums.
No. I haven't figured that out yet. Haven't figured that shit out yet. Okay, so obviously the world blew up. Well, America blew up.
Well,
and I hope this actually happens.
Iran kind of blew up.
I don't give a shit about another country. Yeah, they've been fighting for a millennium. I don't care. Just burn the whole place down. I care about America.
Very unfiltered perspective. I say we just level it all. Turn that shit to glass and fucking.
Well, they're telling all the Americans over there right now to evacuate because of the strike.
Which is funny because over there, Qatar used to be like the safest base to get deployed to, and now fucking Qatar has to be evacuated, and it's our biggest base there. But anyways, so everybody knows what's going on in Minneapolis. So we touched on it. I've touched on so many about the shooting, the Renee who got shot in the face for trying to drive over a ICE agent. Sorry to all you lefties. She did try to drive over him. There's like 4 videos out. If you disagree with that, you just have TDS and get over it.
Also, just so that we're clear, she's not a fucking hero. She doesn't even have custody of her kids because she was a shit mom. So she's not a hero. Hot take.
Yep. So what happened, I think it was last night, there was a protest, obviously. I don't even want to call them a protest anymore. Okay, there's a riot. And they grabbed one of the protesters and went to arrest that protester. And Hannah, as a police officer, you can back me up, or an ex-police officer, you can back me up. So they dragged the protester away from the crowd. As they were about 30 feet away from the crowd, another person jumped up out of the crowd and started beelining it for the officers. What happens to that person, Hannah?
That's called a threat.
Thank you.
And you either de-escalate
well, this
or you
person,
neutralize the threat.
oh, they neutralized the shit out of this guy.
Yeah, I heard.
So
he's
they
blind.
shot. Yeah, so they shot him with a pepper ball, a less than lethal. I've heard a couple people on news, actual like professional news outlets, called a non-lethal. It is not. It's called less than lethal, but they hit him in the eye because you just pull up the gun and you shoot, and it hit him in the eye and popped his eyeball out and broke his socket and made him blind in that eye.
Gross.
Case in point, don't charge law enforcement. That's probably a bad idea, especially if everything's escalated. Charging a law enforcement officer is probably, I don't know if it's like third on the things to do or not to do, or second. It might be first. First might be don't be there in the first place. But so anyway, so my favorite is Trump threatens to impose Insurrection Act. I'm sorry, this has to be done. Minnesota is fucking imploding right now.
I'd say I agree, right? That just blows my mind though. Okay, so yeah, so yes, there is no such thing as a non-lethal, right? I don't know why people continuously use that name, because that shit was like renamed years ago. Like you're talking like, at least that I know of in the military, like we renamed it in 2013, 2014-ish. And it was like strictly referred to as a less than lethal, because you can make pepper spray a lethal weapon. Okay, you can make a taser a lethal weapon. You can make a baton a lethal weapon. Pepper guns, you can make that a lethal weapon. Like, and pepper guns shoot a fucking paint, like a little, essentially like a little soft, not a softball, a little airsoft pellet at
Paintball?
you. But they're smaller than that. They're not like big. But it's like a little airsoft pellet that it shoots at you, and the shell is soft enough to where when it makes contact with something slightly abrasive, like your arm or your leg or your chest, it pops and it releases that pepper spray so that it affects you just like normal pepper spray would. Okay, so it allows you to engage with threatening individuals from a distance, which in the end is an advantage for law enforcement. Okay. All of this can be turned into a lethal weapon, like rubber pellets that they shoot. That shit can be made lethal. The sandbag slugs that they shoot, that shit can be made lethal. The little rubber torpedoes, all that shit can be made into a lethal weapon. And it just all depends on how close you are and where you shoot the individual. Now, with less than lethal, or with a pepper gun, like you're definitely not trained to shoot that person in the face, right? Because we know that your eyeballs are squishy, right? Parts of your face are squishy. And so there's a chance that it's going to lodge itself into you. So my guess is he just pulled up whatever his pepper gun was, quickly pulled it up and shot, and you just got the unfortunate fucking shot in the eye. Like, it is what it is. Like, I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. Like, if you don't want to get injured or you don't want to get treated a certain way, then don't give law enforcement a reason to do it, right? Just comply. If you're going to go and say you're having a peaceful protest, then have a peaceful protest. If you don't want to be the individual that ends up getting their fucking ass handed to them with cuffs in the back of a patrol car, as soon as it's not a peaceful protest anymore, fucking leave. Leave. Like, use your own free will and your own common sense. Like, no cop is going out of their way at the end of the day to go cause somebody blatant harm. Like, that's not their job. Like, they want to go home at the end of the day just like y'all do, right? They've got families, whatever. They all want to go home. Okay? We're not going out there being like, how many people can we kill today? Let's find out. Like, how many people's days can we ruin? Like, let's go find out. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're
How
going
many
out there to
reports can we
enforce.
write by the end of the day?
Yeah, like they're going out there to do a job that only a handful of people select to go fucking do. Like, if being a cop was
Yeah.
easy, everybody would be a fucking cop. But not everybody's a cop. Because one, the job is shit, and then two, the money is not that fucking great either. Okay. So like, you know that up to a certain point, cops are gonna get fucking violent with you just like you're getting violent with them. Like, that's their fucking job, is law and order. Guess what? They gotta enforce that law, and they also have to keep order. That's their job as public servants. You wouldn't yell at a fucking firefighter for putting out a goddamn house, so why are you gonna yell at a cop for doing his job? And I know some of the lefties,
people are
like, if
stupid.
anybody who's a lefty that hears that, they're gonna be like, you know what? Challenge accepted. The next firefighter I see spraying down a house, I'm gonna tell them to quit doing their job. But
Yeah.
yeah, you just gotta, man, like, use your fucking brains, man. Like, y'all
No,
wanna like
I
spew negativity and negativity and negativity. Like, no wonder fucking nobody likes y'all.
so obviously this kid wasn't that old. And he was a kid. He was in his early 20s or something like that, if that.
Yeah.
And
Old enough to know better, young
So-
enough to still do dumb shit.
right, I understand that, but here's the problem that I have. We're going to stop that. When does it start?
What do
It
you mean?
starts. Hey, I told you I was getting to it. Calm down. When does it start? Does it start in schools? Can you change schools to fix the behavior of adults?
Yes.
Yes and no. So for sure, it starts at home, right? Because kids don't start going to school until they're 5, I think it is.
5, 6, depending on their birthday.
Right. So to certain states, it depends on their birthday. So I think it for sure starts at home. So if the first 5 years of your life, you're being taught that, cops are scary and, if this happens, then, there's a certain way to portray first responders, federal agents, things like that. So I definitely think that it starts at home. But I also don't think that schools help that at all. And I know that colleges don't help.
Oh no, colleges
So-
are a indoctrination to left-wing
Right.
politics.
I don't necessarily blame colleges, really, okay? Because like, if the kid, like, don't get me wrong, I think even in college, kids are still extremely impressionable, okay? Because they're finally out of their parents' roof, so they're out of the nest, they're on their own, they're coming up with their own ideas, they're kind of coming into who they are going to be as a person, but. So they're still very impressionable, right? Like, if a professor takes them under their wing and just like spews all this bullshit into their ear, they're just gonna fucking eat that shit up, right? And then it's just gonna be reassured to them throughout the people that they spend time with. But I feel like that's almost a failure on the parents' side by not instilling better beliefs and values into their children. Like, my oldest, I'm always trying to tell her that she needs to be strong in her beliefs. She needs to be strong on her morals and her values of where she stands, because it's going to be challenged throughout her life, especially as she becomes a young adult. It's going to get challenged. People are going to challenge your beliefs. They're going to challenge your views. And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily always to change your values or your beliefs or your views, but just to see where you're at with them, I guess, in a way, like almost like in a healthy debate way. So like, I'm always trying to tell her, like, like, especially wanting to be religious, I'm like, you need to be strong in your values and your beliefs, because there's a lot of nasty people unfortunately, in the religious groups. Like, there's a lot of nasty people that are going to challenge your beliefs and your views.
Have you at all seen that the school teaches something that you disagree with, though? Like, has she come home and said, hey, we my teacher said XYZ. And you were like, yeah,
We're in
no, they have
Texas, so
no
not
business
really.
teaching that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the other thing too, is I think that it's definitely, as far as like schools go, it's definitely state to state,
A
right?
state to
Because you
state and
have like
city
in
to city.
Texas. Yeah, for sure. But just broader is state to state, right? So
Yeah.
Arizona is very red. Um, but I grew up in New Jersey, and I grew up in New Jersey, and Jersey's a very blue state. I I'm not even dealing with the crap that like, so my niece, she'll be 16 this year. Ugh,
Yes,
I don't like the sound of
16.
that. But she'll be 16 this year. And I remember when they moved back to New Jersey within the first like 2 years, she was talking about how there were furries in her school, and one of the kids required like a litter box. Like,
Oh, I heard about
I'm
this.
like,
This like was like national news. It may not have been this
yeah,
exact
but
person, but like it was on national
it,
news that
you
like
know,
a
it
school
wasn't.
allowed for a child to have a fucking litter box.
Right, because it's nonsense. If you're a child, you're a child. If you're an animal, you don't go to school.
Yeah,
So
you need help like
they're
up
right,
there.
right. So I definitely think that our school system is broken. For sure broken. Um, but I definitely think that there's potential for growth maybe in the curriculum. I also think that it's ridiculous that we base kids off of their standardized testing, right? So we all took our state tests, but no child wants to sit in a class for 10 hours a day, 8 hours a day, whatever, and hear the same crap. I mean, it's scientifically proven. You lose a kid's attention within the first 45 minutes. So,
Oh, it's sooner than that. I think colleges did a study on it because when I was still an instructor, uh, we got taught about this stuff like this when we were going over our instructional portion of the class, and it's like the first 10 minutes. First 10 minutes, if you are not catching your students in the first 10 minutes, if you're not grabbing their attention to where they are truly genuinely interested in what you are talking about in those first 10 minutes, you're not going to have them the rest of the class.
No.
yeah, but like
It,
after 45 minutes of listening to that teacher talk, you've already lost them. Even if you
what
have
Yeah.
their attention, after 45 minutes, you've lost them.
in the military, when you become an NCO and when you start doing classes and start teaching and stuff, when you go to learn how to teach, the biggest thing they say is never, ever, ever go more than an hour without a break.
Yep.
Because
Right.
after an hour,
They're not retaining anything.
they're not retaining nothing. You're not looking. That's why in the military, any class you've gone to, I don't care if it's CADMs, I don't care what class you go to. It's usually they go for 45 minutes and give you a 15, 10-minute break, whatever. But they give you a break, go out and smoke, go check your phone, do what, but they let you out of the class and they encourage you, like, go walk around and
Yeah.
then in 10 minutes we'll re-engage.
Yeah, like
Because
I used to make it a rule in my classes, like when we went on a break, you had to leave the classroom. Like I don't care what you did, but you had to get up out of your chair. You had to leave the classroom. I don't care if
yeah.
you walked outside and sat in your
And
car, you were leaving.
yeah. And you literally need to tell, especially military. I don't know about civilians, but you have to tell military people to take a break because if you ever make the mistake and say the statement, look, we got 3 hours left, or we got 6 hours left if we take breaks. Do you guys want to just push through?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna
we're
push
pushing
through.
through.
Everybody's like, fucking just let's go. You mean we're gonna get out early?
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. Come on.
Yeah.
Start pushing. And that's actually bad for you because you can
We would
push
do
through
that.
for
We would do
3
that on
hours.
night classes, like if daytime took a little too long, because we usually had it set up to where we could break for at least an hour and let everybody go eat. That is sound based, but
Yeah.
we'd break for an hour. Everybody could go eat. and then we would come back and do nighttime. Well, sometimes like shit would happen, guns would break, somebody would fail, and so we'd end up like pushing into to where we could start nighttime firing sooner rather than later. And we'd be like, hey, look, everybody can go eat and y'all can come back. Like we'll give you 30, 40 minutes and you'll be back in 30, 40 minutes and we'll push on. Or we can just start live fire now and y'all can go eat when we're fucking done after you turn in your guns. And they'd be like, let's go.
Nope. Nobody ever says, yeah, I want a break. But I've
There's
noticed
only one
in the
person
civilian
that's
world,
like, I was always that one person where like, if I was like, oh man, I'm kind of hungry, I'd be like, oh, guess we're pushing through. Okay.
yeah, shut the fuck up. We're pushing through.
I think I got some peanut butter in my truck.
Yeah. But with the students, I mean, obviously the schools can teach something that you don't agree with. That's in court cases going on right now with
there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, everything from religion to transgender to LGBTQ. Like there's all kinds of things.
Well, there's wicked inappropriate books in some of those libraries that have no business being in the libraries. You're a public school. You shouldn't be teaching my kid how to give a handy to anybody, for one.
I am very much anti-book banning.
I'm not saying ban the books, but you're a public school. That's what my taxes go to.
Yeah, that's not banning a book.
We're talking school libraries. Like these are
school
public
libraries.
schools.
So in order for that school to not carry that book, it has to be banned within the district.
No. Yes.
Yes.
We're talking schools.
Yes.
That's not banning a book. That's not book banning.
That is technically a banning of a book.
No, book banning is
in order for a school district to say, hey, we're not going to have this book in our library. Okay, regardless of what it is, they have to go through the process within their district to technically ban that book so that it is not available for that district. Otherwise, there's nothing stopping it from coming.
But when people say book banning, they're thinking banning that these kids can't get a hold of this book at all.
No.
And that's not what we're talking about. So that banning for a school district is not banning a book. It's restricted because you can't have a fucking Hustler or a Playboy. So, and there's books that are made by Playboy, like actual books.
No. See,
you can't
I think there's a time and place. Like, I think junior,
in school,
seniors, why not have a book about hand jobs? Sex education.
No fucking
sex education.
No. No.
No.
Absolutely fucking not. So you want that author to teach your daughter how to suck a dick?
I'm not going to teach her.
She could find out like every other girl.
What if she wants to do a good job?
Okay. So blowjobs are like cold pizza. Even when they're bad, they're still pretty good.
Okay. That was a weird analogy. With that being said.
It's not a weird analogy.
So obviously we're talking about schools in case nobody caught on. So I did a little bit of research. And because I was actually very curious about this and I was actually really excited about this topic. So I looked up the ratings of schools in the US and there's so many states. So I looked up the top 6 schools and the top 6 schools and the bottom 6 schools in our
bottom 6 are going to be in the South. I'm going to call it right now. Bottom 6 is going to be from the South. Really?
Nope. Yeah.
Oh.
So which school do you think in the US, is like absolutely top of the notch, like education system is fantastic?
Which state?
Yeah.
I want to say a Midwest state. I'd say something like Nebraska or
I'm going to say Montana.
Kentucky.
Definitely both are very Kentucky. Wrong. It's on the East Coast, isn't it? It's probably like New York or Maine.
So it's actually Massachusetts.
Wow.
Massholes?
Yes. Really? That's actually pretty believable.
So the way that they rate these schools, because I was like, there's no way. But yes. So the way that they rate their schools, there's 4 categories. So they rate K through 12 performances, the school funding and resources, the higher education quality, and the actual safety of the school. Okay, those are the 4 categories. So, do you guys want to take a guess at what like the 5th highest school is?
Okay, we're gonna keep with the East Coast, like New Hampshire.
Texas.
No. Okay, so in order from 1st to 6th, I was actually shocked about number 6. I was not anticipating that one at all. So we've got Massachusetts, I said, is number 1. New York is number 2. New Jersey is number 3.
I disagree with that shit.
Why? New Jersey? My schooling was amazing. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted. Number 4 is Washington.
Yeah.
So we jumped from east to
Okay,
west.
I can see that.
5th is Pennsylvania. And number 6 is Vermont.
Wow. Pennsylvania, the Amish must be doing something, right?
They don't go to public school,
But
and they definitely wouldn't allow your
Still a
books in
school.
their school.
Still a school.
yeah. So yeah, so
Wait a minute, are these public schools or are these schools?
schools.
Okay, I would want to know public schools because New York
So
and Vermont have a lot of private schools.
okay. I would have to look into that because I just looked up, I think I just looked up high school ratings or something.
Hold on, that was good, but yeah, that's keep going. I'm going to
So
look
there's
this up.
approximately 51 million public schools in the United States, which is wild to me and doesn't actually make sense. But does anybody want to take a guess what the absolute worst state for schooling is in the United
Mississippi.
States? Damian, you want to take a guess?
Louisiana.
You're both very wrong.
It's got to be the South.
Arizona.
What are you fucking laughing at, girl? You got educated here.
Arizona is the worst school in the United States to have your kids go to school in.
Oh, that checks out. Public school system.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Backtrack. What are the top 4 schools that you had?
Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and Washington State.
Okay,
This is the
it's
Sun Devils
actually,
right here, right? That's the Sun Devils?
yeah. Okay. It's actually not that different.
Okay.
So hold on.
He's going to make my editing life so difficult right now.
Fuck yeah. That's the top 4 for public schools.
Okay, Connecticut makes way more sense to me.
Yeah.
So it's
for our
Massachusetts.
Spotify,
Yeah.
so for our Spotify listeners, it's Massachusetts is number 1 for quality test scores and safety. New Jersey is consistently in the top 3 for overall education and school safety. So it says Connecticut is strong performer, often top 5 for K through 12, performances, and New York, high rankings, especially in funding and overall performance. So that doesn't necessarily mean that this is off. It just
actually it's not. It's still all that East Coasty.
Yeah.
Northern East Coast. Yeah. It's,
okay, so the leftists are doing
close.
something right, and it's kind of education.
Yeah, is according to the stats, yes.
Well, that goes against everything that they say.
Okay, do we want to take a guess what the other bottom 6 states are? Do we want to take a
So we have Arizona
guess?
as the very last.
Yeah, very bottom. Okay, so that's number 6.
Texas is
New
definitely in there.
Mexico's got to be in there.
New Mexico is in there. Texas is not.
Wow, look at Texas doing something good.
I would say Alabama's got to be in there.
Georgia's not. Alabama is.
Louisiana?
Not.
Mississippi.
Really?
Not.
Wow.
Is there any on the East Coast?
Yeah. Well, sort of.
Okay, it can't be California and no,
You said East.
Idaho. Oh, West Coast, I meant.
Idaho, yes.
Really?
Idaho's on this bottom 6, yes.
Okay, let's just
You're
go
missing
through it.
2 more.
Kentucky.
Washington State?
I said
No,
Washington State's
Washington.
in the top 5 or top
Yeah.
6.
Oh, in the top 6. Okay, so where's California? Please tell me California's in there.
No.
God damn it. How
What about
about
Kentucky?
Oregon?
No to both.
Tennessee.
I love this game. No.
West Virginia.
South
Yes.
Carolina.
No.
North Carolina.
No.
It's got to be Florida.
That's all the.
Okay, you ready for this ranking?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we've got. So I'm going to read them backwards. Okay, so we've got Arizona as the worst. Alabama is the next. New Mexico after that. Oklahoma
Wow.
after that.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Idaho. And West Virginia.
West Virginia,
West Virginia
I said,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Okay.
Now,
West Virginia is pretty much
in
a
my
state that we could just
research-
get rid of.
don't tell my brother that.
Yeah, he's a cop. He's a
He,
cop.
li-
Well,
he
he
lives in
lives
West
there.
Virginia,
He's a cop in
Maryland.
Maryland.
So in my research of this, I was curious to see if salaries had anything to do with it, right? Because what's the correlation? I was shocked to find out that it had absolutely nothing, the teacher salaries have absolutely nothing to do with the school rankings. So the top 3 highest, do we want to guess? Or do you want me to just read them?
Just
For pay.
read them.
Yeah.
Definitely New York is up there.
Okay. That's one of them.
California.
Yep.
And New Jersey or Washington State?
No.
Okay, what's the
Rhode
last one?
Island.
No. So California is the highest, about 6 figures a year for the teachers. New York is the next highest, about about 5 figures a year, and Massachusetts about 5 figures a year. The bottom 3, which is this is what like genuinely kind of boggled my mind, is that the bottom 3, the lowest 3 states that pay their teachers kind of the worst, was Mississippi, Florida, and Missouri, with anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000 a year.
Yeah,
So-
but 50,000 in those states is a lot more than, say, 100,000 in California.
Yes, but it's still kind of like Mississippi, Florida, and Missouri. We're kind of just in the middle of these.
Why do people say
top
teachers
6
don't make
worst
good
and-
money?
Yeah, 50,
So I think
60,000.
because okay,
that's more
but
than
if
I
you
make.
think about it for a second, right? So it's more than we make.
Yeah, it's more than.
So if you think about it though, right, $100,000, I think California, when I looked it up, was about $102,000 a year. But $102,000 in California is like, I feel like would be the equivalent of us making $60,000-$70,000 a year here in Arizona, right?
Oh no, you're backwards on that. So 100,000 in California would be the equivalent of you making 30,000 here, 20 to 30,000.
Okay, so I wasn't
Because-
backwards. I was just too high.
Oh.
Way too high because, I mean, you know how we live and you know how much we make.
So that was the really like kind of like, because these schools, the national average for teachers is about $72,000 a year.
I should have been a teacher.
We all should have been teachers. We're all in the wrong.
I have a
the
bachelor's,
wrong
so I
thing.
could probably do it.
You could actually.
Yeah, you
can.
could. And they are dying for teachers.
In Arizona, you have to take, I think it's like a 16-hour course to be a substitute teacher. You don't even have to have a teaching degree.
I'd want to
Fun
teach
fact
health.
for you. Of course you would. So I looked at national trends for dropout rates because I was, again,
I just typed that in right now. I wanted to know.
so I actually like deep dived into a lot of this because I was so interested. Like once I got started, like my brain couldn't stop. So 3 states that have the lowest dropout: Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire.
Okay.
The top 3 states that have a higher dropout rate than the national average or national trend.
If you say the state I'm looking at, I was absolutely surprised.
So we've got California.
Yep, is number 1.
Texas, and Louisiana.
Checks out.
Louisiana makes sense to me.
Louisiana makes sense. California does not make. I mean, they have the highest homeless population, so why the fuck not?
Well, they never really fully recovered after Hurricane Katrina. Now, are you ready for this really fun fact? So, from 2000 to 2022, the dropout rate, the national average or national trend of dropping out, significantly dropped. So it went from 10%, in 2000 to 5.3% dropout in 2022.
Who the fuck is dropping out of high school?
You
Like,
would be surprised.
Seriously. Like, you can't do shit without a high school diploma.
I'll put it to you this way. So Kingman High School has...
No, dropout. You do not graduate
you
high
don't,
school.
yeah.
Well, you can drop out.
GED is you've graduated.
Kingman High School.
Will they
You
still
guys are going to piss me off.
Sorry, will they categorize that as a dropout though?
I don't know.
I think that categorized as a dropout. I don't know.
Go ahead, baby. Holy shit, you're on a roll.
So Colorado and Michigan saw a temporary increase of dropouts post-pandemic.
Not surprising.
Like, it jumped pretty significantly. I don't have the numbers here, but it jumped pretty significantly. And they say that the high school dropouts earn less and face higher unemployment higher unemployment rates, which costs the U.S. economy billions of dollars.
Wow. Did you know the thing I have? Vermont is number 1 in graduations.
Really?
Yeah, it shows Vermont at 95%, Maine at 94.6.
Oh, you guys made me lose my train of thought. Kingman High School here has a 25% dropout rate.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
only 75% of the class actually graduates.
So do you think it's because of discipline in the class?
Oh God, yes.
How do you fix discipline in the class though?
You have a principal with a backbone that's not a wet fucking noodle.
I mean, part of it is also parents. Because
absolutely.
When you worked in the high school and somebody did something wrong and the teacher would try to do something or the principal would try to do something, the fucking parents would walk in and be like, little Johnny's an angel.
But the schools also get it's not a kickback, but they get some sort of funding if they don't expel X amount of students before the first 100 days. So they get rewarded for keeping these horrible kids in class. And then they kick them back to class and the teacher's like, well, I don't want to fucking deal with them, so send them to ISS.
All right.
Okay,
now
so
you're talking about my side of this because this is what I've researched today. So I looked up funding for public school.
Go ahead.
Okay. So public schools receive three sources of funding. Okay. The primary being local funding, which is property tax. That takes the cake. They get the most amount of money from property taxes. Okay.
Okay. And both of us are homeowners, so we're contributing the most to that.
Yeah. Okay. So then we get state funding through state taxes, which then goes into certain formulas aimed at schools for low income, right? Low income schools, special education, and then permanent funds, which would go towards I think permanent funds was going towards it's an amount that they will no matter what kind of get in a way. And then they get federal funding, which federal funding, they only get 10 to 15% of their funding for, and that 10 to 15% is usually grants through Title I, which is low income, and special education. So I did a little more research on it. From 2010 to 2020, federal funding significantly decreased, because we're talking like billions of dollars, right? And then state and local funding significantly increased from 2010 to
Was
2020.
that to offset the federal decrease, do you
Yes.
think?
That
Okay.
was to
Probably,
offset the
yeah.
federal.
But federal funding only goes to certain things. Like you can only like that 10 to 15% only covers special grants, and it has to be something that falls under Title I, or it has to be like special education. Like they cannot use federal funding for like your general education students in a sense. And then the way that spending gets allocated, okay, so this is in priority listing, meaning the first item gets top priority and the last item is the bottom of the barrel. So the first one is instruction and personnel. So this includes salaries, benefits, insurances, things of that nature, retirement, shit like that. Second is student support services. So this is like your counselors, your caseworkers, things of that
Behavioral
nature.
coaches.
Yeah. Then you have operations and maintenance. So this is facility cost, utilities, maintenance, cleaning, the whole 9 yards. Then you have instructional support, which is materials, technology, and professional development for teachers. Then transportation. And lastly, administration.
Hmm.
So it makes me wonder, right? So, like, because my property taxes, I pay over $3,000 in property tax, which goes towards the district that we're zoned for. So, you look at it, and there you can look online, and every school has a dollar amount that they have to have per child per year, or per day. I mean,
Right.
okay. So, like for Texas, they average it at about 62-ish $100 per student per day. Okay. So that's how much it costs for that student to learn for a day, is around $6,200. And I'm thinking,
Good
okay,
grief.
so for my one child to go to school for one day, it's about $6,200. So what is that money going towards for my child, right? Like, how is my child costing $6,200 for a day at school, right? Like, are you
Especially
supplying?
when, like, not for nothing, but like these school textbooks they're out of date, or they're old, right? And they've been abused, or the computers at school, like you always have at least 3 or 4 down at a time, or the buses are constant. Like what is where is that money going? Why aren't the schools better?
Yeah, so
Well,
it
I
makes
know
me
why our
wonder, right?
schools
Because
aren't
like
better because
it makes me wonder
um
because like what is that money that you're spending on my kid? Like you're
Yeah.
not paying for my kids' supplies. Every parent, like at least out here, like every parent, we buy insurance on their electronics, which is $25 for every piece of electronic they have, right? So like that's $25 for a laptop, that's $25 for a cord. So now you're getting $50 per from every single parent, right? If they're buying insurance for the electronics. But like you guys aren't supplying anything to my kid. So like what is this $6,200 going for? Like, is that just how much it costs for like their 8 teachers to teach them and their coach to teach them, and that's how much it costs to feed them, and that's how much it costs per child to run the school? Because if you look at it in that sense, okay, $6,200 per kid makes sense if you're divvying that up between maintenance costs and utilities and the teacher salaries and the food that you're putting on their plate, which don't even get me started on food. But like if you're saying that
how many kids are in one of your daughter's schools?
uh fuck, I don't know.
Uh, one's in high school, right?
She was.
Okay, yeah, but it's calm down, people. She didn't fucking drop out.
No, here.
No, okay.
Let me. I can't look it up because I don't have internet in my house right now, and I'm on my phone. So let me chat. I'll have you look up her high school.
Well, how many? Hold on. How many kids are in Kingman High?
So I want to say about 2,500 kids.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Because it's probably more than that. But my first year in the high school, we had a graduating class of just under 1,000.
See, my graduating class was 400. But that included kids from TAS and a bunch of other stuff like that. Wasn't just from the school.
Oh, I guess that math does math. $15.5 million a year, Kingman budgets. Or we'll say an average school of 2,500 kids. If I know some schools get more than 6,200 a student, but we're just going to use that number that she put. If you have 2,500 students, that school has to budget $15.5 million a year between salaries, food, electricity, maintenance, buses, gas, everything. And yeah, that's not very much at all. You'll blow through that 15 mil in a heartbeat.
Obviously they do, though, because every year before the kids go back to school, they're like, hey, can you buy hand sanitizer for the teachers' classrooms and the sanitizer wipes and the whiteboard markers and the this, that, and everything else. So it's not just the $6,200 per child per day. Now you're asking us to pull from our pockets. And I'm not saying that people that genuinely go to school to be a teacher aren't like genuinely the real heroes, because these kids today are fucking wild. So congratulations to you if you're still a teacher in these schools. I hope that you're having a whole hell of a lot more luck.
Like, that's just Texas. The one I looked at today, like in New York, they're talking like 14,000 per child per day. You know, so like, I wonder how much it would be in Arizona then. But like, because Texas's was actually fairly low compared to other states. Like a lot of states were, you know, double digits, you know, the lowest being like 10,000 and some change. And Texas was very much lower than that.
Okay, so in Kingman High School, I looked it up. There's about 40 teachers.
Okay.
Not principals, that's straight teachers. Now, I know all the teachers don't get paid the same because a teacher's aide doesn't get paid crap and a teacher gets paid. If we go by 40 teachers, their salary takes up out of that 15 million, about 2 million a year. That's if all of them get paid the same. I put 50,000 a year. I put if all 40 teachers got 50,000 a year, obviously the principal gets more, some get more, some get less.
Yeah.
But if all of them get 50,000 a year, you're looking at 2 million.
But does that budget include the foreign teachers that they brought over from the Philippines?
No, I just looked up how many teachers are in Kingman High School. It says 40.
Okay, because I think the year that I got pulled out, there was an entire hallway of like 10 classrooms of just Philippine teachers. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, not at all. So please calm down. Stop typing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But those Philippine teachers don't have the same, like, I don't want to say arrogance, but the same arrogance as the American teachers, right? So those teachers get walked on way more. So I'm just curious, like, how much of that budget is for the
travel?
I know it's a program.
Teachers.
I know it's called right.
No, I think that would be either state or federally funded.
Yes, this is a very rough estimate. 2 million. It could be. I mean, I could be off by 500,000.
I'd say
like
salaries.
That is very.
I'd say just salaries is probably going to cover anywhere between 2 to like 4 mil. Easily 2 to 4 mil.
So easily 5%, 5 to 10% of the budget.
Now, is that did you look up just Kingman High School, or did you look up the entire KUSD?
No, the KUSD district is completely different. It's a lot more. I just looked up Kingman High School. And by the way, they say they only have 1,000 students.
That checks
I mean, it's possible.
900 to 1,000 students.
I mean, that checks
Roughly
out. My graduating class when I
23
was there and it was popping was only 400. But like I said, that included all the kids that were going to pass, but were able
That
to
was in
walk with us.
1908.
Oh,
That was in
Ooh.
1908. Calm down.
Jesus. My parents weren't even alive.
none of our parents were, for the record.
My dad was not.
So, like I said, so this is the weird part, right? So I was in the school for 2.5 years, and I saw my first year there, my graduating class was a little under 1,000 kids. So the next year, right, how they have all those the list of like students for each grade where their homeroom is or whatever. So the next year, the graduating class of seniors was like maybe only 500. The junior class was like almost 1,000 students. The sophomore year, the sophomore grade was like 800 something students. But we've had an influx of California students. We've had an influx of the students from Lee Williams now coming to Kingman High School for an attendance exception to go with their friends.
Hold on, baby. You worked there. I'm looking up, and you went to school there. I'm looking up the report card for Kingman High School.
I'm so excited for this.
What the federal government says this school is. It's a C- overall.
Bullshit.
So academics, C.
F.
Teachers are a C. Club activities, a C. Sports, a B. Resource facilities, a C-.
F.
Diversity, A.
F. No, that's not true. That's not true.
There's 4 black people here. They're counting all the Mexicans and Indians is what they're doing.
Well, okay, so the actual Native Americans don't go to that school anymore. Now they have their own high school.
Okay.
The first year that I was there, we had the Native American kids going there. And let me tell you, they are some of the most disrespectful group of kids I've ever met in my entire life.
So you'll like this one. Administration, D.
F. Hard F.
It's a D. And food
Hard
is a
F.
C. Food's a C.
I don't want to get started on the food.
Yeah,
But the principal's
my wife works for a school cafeteria. Don't get me started.
The principal at Kingman High is a wet noodle. He is useless. And part of me kind of hopes that somebody sees this and sends it to him because he's a wet noodle. I grew up in a high school where we all knew who the principal was, right? We all knew. And my school was ginormous. So we not only did we know who our principal was, but we knew all of the disciplinarians. There was 4. Because our school was so big, we had 4 different disciplinarians and it went by your last name. And we knew all of them. None of the kids knew who the principal was. They knew who the vice principal was. They knew who I don't even know what the other one was called. But there's like 3 people underneath him and they pretty much dealt with everything. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, when I was going there, I knew who the principal was, not for good reasons, but I knew them.
But the principal that you had was also a hard ass, correct?
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, you were scared of her. You were scared of her. She had like oh man, she was just strict, right? But she was super nice. Like she would like walk down the halls and she'd say good morning to people, and she'd correct people and everything, but she was super sweet. But like when she walked down the hall, like bro, we scattered like fucking roaches. Like nobody, like as nice as she was, nobody wanted to deal with her. But she was nice and she was firm and she'd give you the chance. That chance wasn't going to be easy, but she'd give you the chance to fix your shit. Like when I got suspended, it was not an easy suspension because I had a shit ton of stuff to do, which I don't know how exactly all that works, but like I had a shit ton of stuff I had to do on my week of suspension, and she was like, if it's not up to my standard when you return, you're not coming back. I was like, oh.
So do you think it would do you think it would help the schools if the people in the schools were more disciplined? Like, how do I put, like school uniforms, not putting up with as much stuff,
When I have female
teachers.
students, when I have female students dressing like hookers, and
Yeah.
nobody says a thing to them,
You're not allowed to slut shame. If they want to be hookers, they can.
I will slut shame as much as I want. Bitch, you are at school. Your tatas and your little booty hole should not be hanging out your shorts. I understand we're in Arizona. I understand that it's 115. I understand that it's 120. But you know what? No. You are in
Did you
school.
guys actually hear that KHS
You ain't
is,
there.
they've locked all of the restrooms down to where now there's only one bathroom and you have to have an escort in order to go?
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you busted so many girls smoking in the. Well,
Yeah,
babies.
Because
so
they smoke, they
we read
drink, they
Yeah.
fight.
we read about it, and their reasoning was because due to fighting, smoking, vandalism, and apparently kids are having sex in the bathrooms too, which, I mean, isn't a shocker. But
Yeah.
Yep. When I
Yeah, that one
was
doesn't surprise me at all.
when I was working one of the football games, not football games, I was doing Unisource, and I had to inspect that school after hours. There was a car in the parking lot, in the back of the parking lot, and I'm like, well, that's weird. There's not supposed to be any cars here. So, I drove to the back, and as I was walking up to the car, I was like, oh.
Bad
And-
things are happening.
And so I walk up to the car, and I like kind of look in the back seat real quick, and old boy's throwing down.
Trying.
I mean, trying to.
child.
He's a child, so he doesn't know.
who
So
goes
I like
to the
kind of like,
school parking lot to do that?
well, if in the back, you can't see.
No, it doesn't matter. There's like miles and miles of desert. Go park out there.
There is. So I kind of like
There's
knock
literally
on.
a hill that we used to do it on that you can see the whole entire fucking city. And there's nobody
Yeah.
up there. Like, you can go up there and do it. And
Yeah, Clacks Canyon.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna catch
So
you.
I kind of I kind of tapped on the window, and I had my head down because I didn't want to
Respectful.
see anything, respectful. And all I heard was like in the car. She's throwing, yeah, she fucking just grabbed his fucking hoodie and threw it up over herself. He whipped around and grabbed his shirt and just covered himself. And the window was like slightly cracked, and I'm like, hey boss,
You gotta go.
you need to get dressed, and I'm gonna walk away, and I'm gonna come back to this spot in about 5-10 minutes, and this car better not be here. And all I heard was, got it. And I fucking drove away, went around the school, came back 5-10 minutes later, and the car wasn't there.
So, because these school systems have gotten so out of hand, there's a big thing called micro schooling going on.
What the fuck is that?
Okay. So it's an accredited online school. It's 10 students to one teacher, and
Better.
it's like 3 hours daily. You can go at your own pace. You can take whatever classes you need to, whatever. I don't know about in other states, but Arizona, it's completely covered. It's covered by the Arizona Empowerment Scholarship account. Okay. So if because I looked up like kind of what it like all included price wise anyway. So it says a small, flexible, personalized learning environment with unique curriculum, often run like a small business, while public schools are largely standardized, publicly funded institutions bound by state regulations, offering broad resources, less individual attention for public schools. Okay. So a self-paced / teacher guided. So you're again moving at your own pace, but you're like having teachers help you and stuff. You're only paying about $120 a week. General education guided study, which is less like one-on-one, is about $385 a month. Special education is about $650 a month, and then just general education is just $690 a month. So micro schools have become, actually, I think I just saw one pop up on it wasn't Northern, but there's one of the little streets that I just saw one pop up on. I think it's like Bank and Gordon, maybe. One popped up.
Hmm.
And
My
the
kids are
success
on.
rate for those is
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead. Success
one
rate.
of your kids are going, right?
the success rate is a lot higher than public schools. As far as like the kids feel more like seen and heard, and they're able to ask the questions that they need to, because instead of there being anywhere from, even though there's only supposed to be 25 students in a classroom, the teachers at KHS had classes of anywhere from 30 to 40 kids in a class. And that's, I mean, I don't care who you are, 30, 40 teenagers all in one spot is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, my two oldest are going to online school,
So
and
is it
it's
a
all.
micro school or is it online?
I think it's just an online public platform. I don't know. It's like virtual academies that are accredited here in the state.
Okay.
The oldest,
Okay.
because she's in older, hers is it's a self-paced. So like she could be 3-4 weeks ahead of like the actual lessons, but as long as she turns her stuff
Gotcha.
before the due date, she gets credit for it. And then the younger one, hers,
Nice.
and they have in-person classes like every day. They'll have um the older one every day she has at least one in-person class. The younger one, she has at least 1 or 2 every other day. And then same thing with her, like she can work ahead if she wants, as long as the stuff is turned in by the due date, she's good to go.
Nice.
Yeah. So far they like it.
So just really quick, we're going to go back to dropout rates and we're going to talk about college for like 2 seconds. Because we touched on this a little bit earlier in our conversation. A lot of schools, I don't even know that I want to say a lot, but like but a lot of them, right, are very left-leaning. And so they're
Yes.
getting indoctrinated, our young minds are getting indoctrinated into the nonsense. Guess what the dropout rate for college is?
Oh,
75%.
this is going to be high. I would have to say 60.
It's lower than that, actually.
Oh, 40?
Lower.
Just tell us.
So it's about 32.9% of college dropouts.
Wow.
32% of them do not finish their first year. Do you think male or female drop out more?
Male.
Male.
That's easy.
Males
Men are
about
stupid.
6% to the females to about females 4.2%.
No, because college isn't designed for males anymore. We are not welcome there.
But trade schools are more set up.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing. I forget who I was talking to, but being 30, I'm a millennial, right? And we were taught that college was an absolute must. You're not going to do anything with your life unless you go to college.
That's
Trade
not true.
school wasn't even an option. Nobody talked to us about trade schools in high
No,
school.
that was what's his face? Mike Rowe, his biggest push, saying that college, the whole push in the 80s and 90s for college for everybody was the biggest mistake America ever had. And because a lot of kids,
Just
a lot of adults are just not built for college.
really quick, Hannah, you look real irked over there.
I don't know. I mean, I think college definitely has its place, right? Like I think like you
Yeah,
have
of
you
course,
have to
yeah.
have like we're always going to need like doctors and nurses and
Yeah, of course.
psychologists and lawyers, So I definitely think college has its place, right?
Yeah.
I think that big push kind of
But no,
screwed everything because now like basic bare minimum jobs, like some of them out there like require you to have some type of degree, and it's like, why do you need a degree to be a fucking secretary? But okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like the big
Yeah.
push of degrees is kind of like ruin things because there's so many jobs out there now where like their qualifications, like minimum 2 years education, associate's degree in this bracket of schools or this bracket of degree
Mhm.
plans or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like it just kind of ruined a lot of things to where now, like, we're in this spot where it's like, yo, you at least have to go and get some type of fucking degree aimed towards the direction of what you want to do in life.
And unfortunately, most of the degrees right now that are people are getting are degrees at fucking gender studies. Like the only place you're going to be able to use gender studies is if you are a professor of gender studies in a fucking college. Like it's a useless. We have a ton of useless degrees. This goes along with all the free college thing. I would not mind having free college, but it would be free college for like
What
doctors,
we need.
lawyers, uh,
Nurses.
engineers, nurses, shit like that. Then I would be told. But if you want to take lesbian dance theory, go fuck yourself. Like I'm not going to pay for that. That's not a free college. That's you don't know what you want to do with your life, so you're just taking a college course. So
I think that's another thing too, is I think that we were like, we had college shoved so far down our throat that it was never even an option of like, hey, take a minute, try a bunch of different jobs and see where you fit, right? It wasn't to take a gap year was so taboo and looked down on that I think like even me now, like I would love to do something with animals. What that something is, I have no friggin' clue.
and
But
Kingman's not a great place for it. We would have to
right,
move.
right. But there's also like the discipline of it, right? So there's the discipline of like, okay, if you're gonna go online, like you have to dedicate at least X amount of hours. Right. And Hannah, you can speak from experience. Like you have to be so disciplined with it or you fall behind so fast. And for
That's rough.
me, like when we moved here, yeah, I'm so much of a scatterbrain that going to online, right?
Wasn't for you.
Right, it wasn't for me. I worked 5 days a week. I worked anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day, 5 days a week because I loved my job. And then to come home and have to do hours of schoolwork, I was like, nah. And I fell behind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
if you
rough.
were
Don't get me
forced to
wrong.
go to a class Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I
Right.
think you would have done graduated easy.
Right.
Because then you're
Yeah.
like, I have to go to class. Like I get home at 6, my class starts at 7:30.
Right.
I gotta go.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, it was
it
rough.
would have
Like
been easier. But
I remember like I got lucky because I went to GCU, which is in Arizona, and being that we were in Texas, I had, the time difference. So it actually kind of worked in my favor because then I could stay up late here, but it wasn't as late in Arizona. So my cutoffs were a little bit better, right? And I can remember nights where
Yeah.
like it was a fucking work night and I'd be out here on my computer till like fucking midnight, 1 in the morning, trying to fucking hammer out the last like final pieces of an essay so that I could submit it because it's due that day. Like, I can remember our first Christmas out here, we actually went to Florida and the only day we didn't have to do class was Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Everything else, like those are the only days that they were like, you don't have to check in with us. You don't have to do a discussion on those days. You don't have to respond to people on those days. And other than that, like we were still required to do stuff. And so we were required to get on there 3 days a week just for discussions. And so like even while I was on Christmas break, like hanging out with my family and stuff, like I'm on my fucking laptop, like writing fucking essays because they're still due at the end of the week. And that's like
Yeah.
hammering out an hour or two of reading and writing a day, even while I was on vacation. Like I still had to be like, hey, I got to go lock
but
myself in a
that's
room for 2 hours so I can read and write some of this essay.
yeah.
It sucks.
But that's once you get into college. I don't think high school is preparing students for the outside world or even college. because they're taking away a lot of the things, and I'm talking from the man's point of view. They're taking away a lot of things that men are good at. We are good with our hands. We're good at work, welding, engineering, stuff like that. That's what we excel in. And a lot of things that helped us get pushed towards that was the not home ec, but shop class and automotive class and all that stuff. And that's just, first of all, you got teased. If you went into shop class, they said you were an idiot. They never told you how much a fucking carpenter makes. That's not real stupid. But I mean, that's all.
So
It's not as pushed as much anymore.
so no, not maybe it's not pushed, but like so Kingman High, right? They have their woodwork, they have welding, they have 4-H, they have
FFA.
agricultural something. But like we had kids that would come from Lee Williams and come to KHS for welding or woodworking or whatever. But then we had kids from our school that would go there for their automotive class because they had like a shop class.
I've seen it actually when I do the inspections there. They have a kick-ass automotive.
Right. So I think in that aspect, I think it's definitely I think that they're doing well. But I also feel like nowadays you have teachers that don't want to teach.
Which
This is crazy to me
this
because,
is going
like,
to piss
okay,
off a lot of teachers.
so that's crazy to me. Okay, so in Texas, a bunch of the schools around here have different career paths that you can take, right? And it's aimed more towards like your junior, your senior year. So, like welding, for example, your junior year, you can take welding 1. Your senior year, you can take welding 2. When you graduate, you will have a state license to be a welder, which means you can go apply at any job that has the minimum requirement of a state license, which is usually the minimum requirement, right? The only way they caveat that is like experience, years and years and years of experience. But you graduate with that state license or certificate, whatever it is, as a welder, like a level 1 welder. Okay. They have a bunch of the schools also have like cosmetology, where by the time you graduate, right, you do your junior year, your senior year, by the time you graduate, you have your cosmetology license when you graduate. Same thing with like CNA. They have it to where you can go the CNA route, and when you graduate, you can go and take the test, and boom, now you're a licensed, registered, whatever the hell it is, CNA. And they have that for
See,
a
that's amazing.
bunch. They have that for
that
a
is
bunch
that is absolutely wonderful.
different career paths that you can take. So I found it weird that, like,
See, I believe that is more needed in school.
yeah, I think it
I
should be. I
think
think it should be something that, I mean, I don't see a lot of like, I mean, even where we live at, like, yes, we live around a larger city, but like the town that we actually live in, like, it's only like 15,000 people, and our schools are doing that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's no reason all schools shouldn't do that. If you have to get rid of the trade education, I think you're doing a disservice to a ton of
everybody.
people, a ton of intelligent people that literally make this world work.
like, and they
Like
still
without
have like,
plumbers,
they
without
still have,
automotive mechanics,
the,
with
the schools out here, like, they still have band. They still have a amazing sports.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They still have an amazing sports department,
well, you're
right?
in Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
football is
it's Texas. Like
pretty
it's
fucking big.
mandatory. It's a religion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like the sports are still super good. They still have band, they still have theater, they still have the drama, like they still have choir. They still have art and photography. Like they still have all these electives that they can do. And on top of like all these different avenues they can take for fucking math or science or English. Like there's different types of English classes that you can take that still earn you your English credits or whatever, or like languages, right? They have to take languages. Like some of the schools, some of the smaller schools kind of out in the country, like they only offer like Spanish, and that's the only other language you get. But like Some of the schools will offer like
Yeah.
an electronics class that'll count for language, right? Um, American Sign Language will
Right.
count for language, or they'll offer French or
That's
they'll offer
amazing.
German. Like a lot of the schools offer a diverse group of different languages that you can learn to take to get your language credits. So it's not like they're like completely derailing one thing in order to have these other avenues, and there's actually talk.
Right.
They also have a route that my oldest was actually doing when she was still in in-person school of public service. So that'll take you the route of like law enforcement. And they were talking about integrating a public service route for firefighters.
That's
So Lee
cool.
Williams has that. So Lee Williams has a fire program that works with the local fire stations, and you can go through, I think it's your junior and senior year, and you take it and then you test in, and if you keep up your grades and all of that, then the local fire stations kind of like pick you up as like a rookie, probie, whatever you want to call them,
Trainee, yeah.
and they work with you there from there because you've already got essentially 2 years under your belt, and like they go over everything. They go over, you know, um, it- uh, like the uniform, and they have like the full like fireman's gear, and they walk them around with it, and so they're getting used to that. But as far as anything else goes, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And that's probably
Whereas
something
like
that
in New
like
Jersey,
the fire departments kind of put together, and then they were able to like get it in there, and it's like a
yeah,
volunteer retired fire fucking chief or whatever that goes and teaches the class.
Yeah. I
see,
mean,
but so like in New Jersey, right? So in Kingman Hyde, they only have Spanish, right?
They had German when I was there.
But in New Jersey, we had the choice of, yeah, they don't anymore. In Jersey, they had a choice of Spanish, French, Italian, and there was another one that I can't think of. It might have been German. But we also had kids that like your senior year, you could do a half day and then you find like an internship at like the local vet clinic or something. And that would count towards credits to graduate. So you also had to do some sort of like community service or like a big like not book report, but essentially a big book report
Like a
in order to
capstone.
graduate. And they don't have any of that here.
no,
They used to.
I completely, I mean, I've
Kingman used to
disagreed
have
with internships.
Kingman used to have a senior program where you like had to volunteer X amount of hours, and it had a list of the places that they approved, but you had to volunteer so many hours by the end of the year, and then submit a report about how it like impacts the community
Yeah.
or something. They used to have a senior project, and it did not last very long, I don't think.
See, and I think internships should only be in high school. I've never agreed with adult internship. An adult working for free just for the privilege of working for some special company. They should have more internships for high school kids, like juniors and seniors that have like they've acquired enough credits or something like that that they can like half the school day instead of going to they actually go to a job. I think that would benefit kids a lot more. And I'm not talking flipping burgers. I don't think that should be even an option, but like working at a bank or working at something that will help you out. Um I but I also believe that high schools have become undisciplined, very undisciplined. I'm completely for schools bringing back punishment. I'm completely in favor of schools bringing back I would like to see uniforms, even the teachers having uniforms. That pissed off a lot of people when you said that in the last one because it's kind of a redo. But when we said that teachers should wear uniforms, holy shit, every teacher in the world came out of the woodwork
And it's so
and
funny to me
disagreed with
because
that.
there was a guy who got on there and argued that like he teaches a class, and then he has a break class where he doesn't have anything, right? So he's got a gap. and he goes out and he has to like mow the fucking fields or mow the fucking lawn. And then when he gets done with that, he's back in a class. And then he's going out and he's doing this, and then he's back in a class. And I'm like, look, man, that sounds like your school doesn't have funding to me, because why the fuck is a teacher or a coach mowing the lawn?
Mowing the football field.
Yeah.
Like, why are
Yeah.
you doing that? Like, my coaches growing up, like when I played soccer and stuff, like you would never see our coaches out there mowing the fucking football field so that we could put goalposts on it. Like, that never happened. You would never see our coaches out there laying fucking chalk for, you know,
No.
the lines for the field. Like, that never happened. Now, if they wanted to volunteer to help, like in their spare time, they would. But like, it
Yeah.
wasn't their fucking job. Like, we had people that were dedicated to the
No.
sports department that were in charge of chalking and shit. Like, they put up the goalposts, they put up the fucking, they laid
Yeah.
the chalk, they pulled the benches out, you know, they filled the water jugs, like, they did all the shit. You know, so like, if your school has you out there
And
mowing fucking
yeah.
lawns or doing whatever, like, that sounds like a failure on your school's part. So that's
Yeah,
not your
that sounds
job
like
as
a school
teacher.
problem, not a you problem. But I mean, I think it would help out the teachers a lot. Now, let me caveat this, because much like every other job in the world, 95% of teachers do it good. Like, I'm proud of 95% of you when it comes to like the way you look at work. But the 5% are.
So I was at a middle school for like 2-ish weeks. And I don't know why this specific teacher stands out to me, but she was a younger teacher, right? Very pretty. And I remember one of the days she came in this little dress.
What middle school were you
And we're
at?
not talking like KMS.
Was she blonde?
I'm not talking about, oh God, I don't remember. This was forever ago.
Okay.
Maybe.
There's only a handful of younger teachers, and one of them I went to school with, so I might know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So, but she came in like this little dress, and we're not talking like just above the knees or whatever. I'm talking like little dress, right? With these
Skin tight, or like the one
no,
you're
the
wearing
bottom
now?
was kind of like floofed out, but it in my opinion was so inappropriate, and because it wasn't very long, it wasn't fingertip length, and she chose to wear like stilettos or something with it, some crazy ass shoe with it, like. And I'm not saying that as a female teacher you can't dress nice, right? Because there's business casual, right? And then there's
Casual?
that. It's just it's an inappropriate. I'm not saying that you can't wear jeans and like a nice polo. I'm not saying you have to wear a fucking tie as a man. If you want to wear a bow tie, knock yourself out. But as a female, you are the role models for our younger females. You are the role models for our young females. In a world full of Cardi B's, be Melania Trump.
You're making a movie about her.
I said it. I know.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
She's classy.
No,
okay? She's
I
classy.
agree.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if somebody showed up dressed like Melania Trump as a teacher, I'd be like, okay, we get it. You're a bad bitch, but like,
Why?
you're wearing Louis Vuittons.
Why?
Everything's
She's in a
covered. She
suit.
looks professional.
Yeah, she's in a suit, basically a female suit.
I guess I just have a problem with teachers in heels at school. Like, teachers are meant to like break up fights and shit when they happen. Like, teachers break up fights.
Oh, the heels.
Yeah, the heels. I'd have an issue with
Okay,
heels.
but you can wear flats. You can wear flats. You can wear there's even nice like fancy tennis shoes or loafers or whatever. I'm not saying go to school in high heels.
Yeah.
There's some
I think I
expensive
have an issue with
Crocs
that.
out
Like,
there.
I feel like I've seen so many teachers when I was growing up that they started the day in some type of heel, even if it wasn't like a crazy heel, and then like halfway through the day they were walking around their classroom fucking barefoot, and I'm like, that's real professional. barefoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no. And I totally believe that the men should, if you're a man in school, you need to have suit and tie or polo.
No, see, and I'm like, okay, if you as a man don't want to wear a suit and tie, khakis and a nice polo.
That's what I just said. I said suit and tie or a polo.
But it has to be nice looking. You have to be business casual. The fact that people genuinely think, "Oh, well, I'm a teacher. I can't wear a uniform." They're not saying that you have to wear a fucking t-shirt with the Kingman High School or whatever school you teach at logo on the front. We're not saying that you have to wear that and then,
some dress
you
code,
know,
some form of dress
the
code.
jeans and the things and the right.
Yes.
Like I've seen plenty of teachers
I'm
that
100.
wore jeans and you know, they had like a nice blouse on, or they did jeans with like a t-shirt and then they threw a sweater on it, you know, like their college sweater over it.
Yep.
Like, cool, I'm all for it. I'm cool. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I've also had teachers who wore looser, not form-fitting knee or below length dresses every day with like a pair of wedges or a pair of like 2-inch pumps. Like, I think that's fine too. But in walking around with like short, like if you're requiring your female students' shorts or dresses or whatever be fingertip length, your shit should be the same. You know, if
Yep.
you're requiring your students to cover up their
Okay.
bra
Again.
straps, then you should be doing the same. If you're requiring that your students can't show cleavage, you should be doing the same.
So I asked GPT, holy shit, Chat GPT, about this. And this was the argument that Chat GPT came up with. I know we'll read it for you, Hannah, because I know your screen is like about that big because of the phone. So establishes authority and professionalism, creates a constant, respectful learning environment, reduces distractions for students. That one, a lot of people are going to argue with because they should teach your son not to stare. Eliminates ambiguity about staff identification.
Agreed.
Promotes fairness and equality among staff. Strengthens school culture. Models expectations of students.
For students.
For students, my bad. Simplifies daily routines for teachers.
Right. So like, okay, so
I
the way I
agree.
look at this, right, is like, what would you think if your principal showed up to the school wearing a pair of, you know, holy jeans and like a band fucking t-shirt?
Yeah,
Would you
you'd be
think
like,
less?
who is that guy?
Would you think less of that principal?
I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if I was
Right,
going
because
in
they're-
to talk to the
be-
principal about my son doing something wrong and I saw that, I'd be like, I know it's not right to say, but my first thought would be like, who the fuck are you to tell my son that he did something wrong?
Yeah, because the principal is supposed to present a certain persona, right?
Yep.
They have to present a certain way. Like, even at the middle school that I worked at for a short amount of time, like I don't think I ever saw the principal ever show up in a pair of jeans. She never wore a pair of jeans. It was always like, you know, nice business casual blouses and nice business casual dresses of appropriate length. And I never saw her wear high heels unless she was going to like a district meeting or something. Like then she'd throw her heels on.
I think
from
the
underneath her
biggest
desk.
heel I ever saw her wear was like,
Yeah, it's like a 1-inch pump, if that.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then
Okay, so let me Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Hannah.
and then the male principals that I've had growing up, like they were always business, student ties every single time. They might on a Friday loosen it up a little bit and do like a pair of slacks with, you know, a long sleeve button down with no tie, and that's about it. But they were always pretty much business.
Or if there was a big game that night at the school, they would wear like a nice pair of jeans with like the school shirt.
Yeah, like a school polo.
Okay.
Which that I
go
can
ahead.
understand. Yeah.
So I'm going to share something and I want you guys to guess what the argument for this is.
Oh, good grief. More crap to edit. Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
can't
Reduces
read it.
distractions in classrooms.
Okay.
I know, that's why I'm saying it out loud.
He's reading it to you right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Promotes equality among students. Improves school safety. Encourages discipline and professionalism. Saves family time and money. Reduces
student
peer
uniforms.
pressure and social anxiety. Strengthens school
Yeah.
identity and pride. Supports academic performances.
Yeah, so this is for school
Student
uniforms. But here's the thing. Or student uniform, sorry. This is my thing, right? It says saves families time and money. No, it doesn't. That's why KHS, hold on, that's why KHS got rid of theirs. Because if your student went to the school and did not get school uniforms, right? Because they had to have the school shirt or whatever. First of all, each shirt was like $25, $30, which may not seem like a lot to us. But your school week is 4 days a week. It's 115 for the first 2 months you're in school. So you want at least 4. So let's say they're an even, $25. There's $200 right there. Or sorry, there's $100 right there. My bad. There's $100 right there. Let's say that you've got 2 teenagers in high school. There's $200. You're now talking about specifically in that high school. There's kids that couldn't afford water or heat. Their parents couldn't afford to turn on basic utilities.
I would be more than happy for my taxes to go up $100 a year if it would pay for school uniforms. Because I don't think I think school uniforms should be mandatory for students. I don't think it should be paid for by the adults. I mean, by the parents. My bad. By the
think
parents.
that another
I think it
issue
should
that
be
I know in Kingman, another one of the issues they had was there was only, ooh, my AirPods just died.
technical difficulties.
There we go. Okay, we're back. I think another one of the issues was hopefully we did not just lose everything because my whole time just reset. I think one of the other issues was also
Good here.
because they had one vendor. They had one vendor in town that was supplying the shirts. So it was always like they were too expensive or they didn't have enough. And I think that's another issue you run into with small towns is that nobody's fucking making you these shirts because they're
Yeah,
forking
Hannah,
up
you're
this
wicked
money.
cutting out.
Yep, we're gonna have to call it.
Damn it.
You have no audio. Well, unfortunately, we can continue this. We did our best. We had to push through because of the we were thinking about postponing this, but we tried to push through and technical difficulties we got an hour and 40.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
we did good.
Yeah, it's not like we did terrible. But yeah, I'm looking down here and your upload is going from 0 to 80 to 60 to 0 to so we don't want to lose any of this. And it just went to 0. So don't go anywhere when we shut everything down. But we're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on everything. iHeartRadio.
TikTok.
Thank you for joining us. Sorry we had to cut it short. Technical difficulties. We'll get it fixed next time. That's if the internet doesn't seem to want to just go out in 2026. Fucking Jesus. We're living in the Stone Age.
Check back next Monday because we'll have another one up.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family, do the things.
All right. Don't go anywhere. See you, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
You done with your podcast?
About 6:15.